1,032 days. A stretch of time lasting from June 26, 2022 to April 23, 2025. Here's a short list of things that happened in that time. Boris Johnson resigns, the Queen dies, Elon Musk buys Twitter, Damar Hamlin collapsed, Donald Trump is indicted, OceanGate becomes Notiongate, Caitlin Clark is the GOAT, Donald Trump is convicted, Donald Trump gets shot, Donald Trump gets reelected, Hurricane Helene, flooding in Spain, war in Ukraine, 30-20-20 game, just thought I'd slide that one in there. Doncic is a Laker, Ovechkin is the scorer, in the Middle East tensions rise, the Pope dies, and I think that's most of it. We didn't start the fire. That is a considerable chunk of time any way you slice it. And it also happens to be the amount of time that Gabriel Landeskog spent away from the NHL.
This week started with some really tough news for the Colorado Avalanche, the team announcing that Captain Gabriel Landeskog would miss next year, needing more surgery on that right knee.
Gabe Landeskog will miss a second straight season after he undergoes a cartilage replacement surgery on his right knee tomorrow.
And just before we start, big news, Gabe is not retiring.
But hold up, I think we should rewind, because to understand the impact of his injury, we need to understand his impact on the team. The 30-year history of the Colorado Avalanche has seen just 4 different captains, 2 of which have made up the heavy majority of that time. After the retirement of Super Joe Sakic, who had served as the franchise's leader since 1992, came an awkward in-between where the team was caught between past and future. For a couple years, they fell on veteran talents like Adam Foote and Milan Hajduk, both greats in their own right, but also both on their way out. The team needed new blood, someone who could lead them in the long term. But who could that be?
Colorado Avalanche are proud to select from the Kitchener Rangers, the Ontario Hockey League, Gabriel Landeskog.
With the second overall pick in the 2011 draft, the Avs picked up a lumbering yet lethal winger in Gabriel Landeskog. From Stockholm, Sweden, he first ventured across the pond in 2009 to play for the Kitchener Rangers in the Ontario Hockey League. And from day one, he was A1. He ranked 3rd in points and goals among all rookies, and in his second year was promoted to team captain, leading the Rags in goals despite missing 15 games due to injury. Also, just look at that mohawk, come on now. The Avs knew they were getting something special, and they needed it. For their first 10 years of existence, they made the playoffs each and every time around, but by now, in 3 of the last 5 years, they've completely missed out, boasting their worst record in the year before. But with Gabe on board, things got better, as while they still missed out on the playoffs, their record improved, and Landeskog led all NHL rookies in scoring, enough for him to take home the Calder Trophy as the 2011-2012 Rookie of the Year. Then, heading into just his second season, he was named team captain, beating Sidney Crosby by 11 days as the youngest C in NHL history. Until about 4 years later when McJesus came around, but hey, still pretty cool. And with that, the Avs had their anchor. Now it was just a matter of surrounding him with the right talent. In his first year as captain, they didn't really do that. But the following year, with new head coach Patrick Waugh and new line mate Nathan MacKinnon, Landeskog, and the whole team for that matter, had their first chance to shine, winning their division for the first time in 10 years. Though they couldn't escape the first round against the Wild, the streets won't forget the 2013-14 Avalanche, a very special team with a very short shelf life. They could only muster 39 wins in each of the next 2 years, and then their worst record ever, 22-60, the basement of the NHL.
That shit is a 2-pack of ass!
But by holding faith in their new head coach Jared Bednar and trading away the monkey's paw Matt Duchene, the Avs rebounded straight from last place into playoff position. And who was it who sent them there?
A chance for the empty netter! Got it! He got it! He got it! The captain Gabe Landeskog tackled by his teammates!
Despite their first-round elimination at the hands of the Predators, it was a wildly successful year, especially in the career of Gabriel Landeskog, and the next would be his best to date, as for the first and only time, he was an all-star alongside teammates Nathan MacKinnon and Mikko Rantanen. The front office had clearly found the right talent, so much so that throughout his career, the captain has only led his team in points once, and that's mostly because of McKinnon's fractured foot in 2015. But for his purposes, he hasn't really had to be the best. There's an entire fraternity of captains who aren't necessarily the best players on their team because that's not what they're there to be. Their greatest strength is their ability to lead, to galvanize, to stand up for their teammates when they're face down on the ice.
And Landeskog is challenging Trouba. Yeah. Took a big hit. Landeskog wants to go. Here we go. Right by Landeskog. Right by Landeskog. He's right to the right. Oh, he's right to right on Shin's head. Down goes Shin to the ice. Mikko is red hot. And now we may have a fight. Landeskog's going to go toe-to-toe with Ekholm. A couple of rights. Landeskog leveling Ekholm. And he pounds him down to the ice.
But but still occasionally score a badass goal here and there.
Wide open, score! Oh, Captain! My Captain!
Heading into the 2020s, things were starting to click, thanks in part to another young phenom, the offensive defenseman, Cale Makar. Just like Landeskog and McKinnon, he stormed out of the gate and became the Avs' third NHL Rookie of the Year in the last decade. But while his presence on the ice did help, it was his presence on a particular night and a particular part of the ice that caused a problem. During Game 6 of the second round against the Dallas Stars, Makar had fallen down to the ice, and while swinging his leg back around, his left skate caught the right knee of Landeskog, taking him out for the rest of the game and Game 7 as well, a game where they really could have used his help. Still, once his tendons seemingly healed up, he was back on the ice merely 4 months later to kick off the 2020-21 season, the year that the Avs won their third ever President's Trophy with the best record in the whole league, 39-13-4. Though a bitter second-round defeat for the third year in a row left them with a chip on their shoulder as they looked poised as ever to finally win it all. And then, in the summer of 2022,
Colorado has won the Stanley Cup!
this should have been the happy ending. Over a decade's worth of struggle and roster rebuilds, from dead last to the very best, all seen through to a championship, it's as classic a sports story as ever, but in this case, it would turn into Landeskog's worst nightmare. Throughout that championship season, unbeknownst to the team or the media, the pain in his knee just got worse until he finally caved and went under the knife in March. Just 2 months from the playoffs, the team wasn't sure if they'd even have their captain, but after missing the last 23 games of the regular season, he was back and ready to rock. Or so it seemed. In the short term, yes, he got the job done. He got to skate up to Lord Stanley and lift it over his head, but in the long term, these playoffs would set his recovery back more than he could ever imagine. He underwent another knee surgery just before the start of the next season and was only expected to miss 12 weeks, but ended up missing the entire regular season and playoffs, where once again they really could have used his help. As if a Game 7 loss as the defending champs to a mere second-year expansion team wasn't bad enough, it was then announced that Landeskog would miss the entirety of next season too, undergoing a knee cartilage transplant surgery in May of 2023 in Chicago. Now, I'm no doctor, and I'm not going to try to be, but from what I've researched, there are 3 big takeaways from this kind of surgery. Number 1, it's sort of a last resort. Because cartilage doesn't have the same regenerative qualities as muscles or tendons, replacing it altogether is the only way to go. Number 2, it is extraordinarily painful. Even in recovery, it takes a long time for the pain to go away, let alone be able to walk, run, or ice skate. And number 3, most importantly, the success rate for this kind of operation in professional athletes is 0. Statistics are sparse, but as far as I can surmise, not a single pro hockey player, or any player for that matter, has returned from such a surgery. You could say it's a kiss of death for an athlete's career. Actually, that's technically not true. I mean, it was before the surgery, but let me explain. There's a reason why he went to Chicago for the surgery, because there resides Dr. Brian Cole, who just 2 months earlier made a similar operation on NBA point guard Lonzo Ball. He had suffered in a similar style and a similar timeline to Landeskog too. In fact, the two regularly talked to compare their recovery progress, and wouldn't you know it, in late 2024, a year and a half after his surgery, Lonzo was back on court for the Chicago Bulls. Even if it was in a limited capacity, he proved that a full recovery is possible. There was still hope that the Avs would once again have their Northern Star, but it wasn't without setbacks. At times, there was enough soreness and swelling that it rendered him unable to stand, and in December of 23, he tore his patellar tendon, adding almost a year to his recovery time. Heading into the 2024-25 season, for the third year in a row, he'd have to show up to the home opener in a suit instead of a sweater. And finally, the emotion boiled over.
So I'm scared to let people down, and like if I can't get through this and get through on the other side, then I feel like you're letting people down, you know?
By the way, that clip is from the docuseries A Clean Sheet, so if you'd like to experience the story from Landy's perspective, go check it out. It's good stuff. As restless and frustrated as the fan base had become, it was clear that nobody was more fed up than Gabe, but he didn't let that hold him back. Instead, he used it as motivation to consult, condition, and in March of 2025, returned to team practice.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening!
On April 9th, it was announced that he would be sent down to the American Hockey League to play for the Colorado Eagles on a conditioning stint. This included team practice and, for the first time in almost 3 years, 2 honest-to-God professional hockey games.
Scores! Gabe Landeskog!
This performance was convincing enough for the Avs to call him right back up, just in time for the first round of the playoffs too, against who else but the Dallas Stars. Boo! In Game 2, he joined the team for warm-ups, and in Game 3, on April 23rd, 2025, it finally happened.
And at left wing, from Stockholm, Sweden, number 92, Gabriel Landeskog.
Brock Nelson finds Landeskog. Score! Landeskog! Welcome back, Captain! His first National Hockey League goal in nearly 3 years!
Even though the Avs would go on to lose this series, as a fan, I don't even care. Okay, that's a lie. I do care. What the hell was that? In the grand scheme, however, it was just euphoric seeing number 92 back in the lineup. And to put it into perspective, it was the longest leave for a player with 700 or more games already under his belt since former Av Peter Forsberg and former Av Uwe Krupp. He has also joined the three-man club of captains who have spent over 1,000 days away from their team. A literal case of men used to go to war. Now 3 weeks into the 2025-26 season, and it's been a slow start. 2 assists and no goals in 10 games, but also no setbacks, no games taken off, no more injury.
I feel like I've got lots of work to do, but I will say this, I'm really enjoying it. I'm loving every minute of being back, so scoring or not.
It should be clear by now why this return means so much to the Avs faithful and the hockey world at large. There were times to both the fans and the franchise where it really felt like the Stanley Cup final would be the end of it. And while going out as champion is a time-honored Colorado sports tradition, it's clear that he still has more to give, more fuel for the fire, and more cups to chase. We all had our doubts, but in the end, all along, we should have just listened to Eric Johnson.
I always just say I wouldn't bet against Gabe Landeskog.